Hi, my name is Tanya Johnson. I am the co-founder of the Institute of Child Psychology. We're thrilled to introduce you to Leslie Priscilla. Hello, Leslie.
Hi, Tanya. So good to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you as part of our conference. Leslie, you are the founder of Latinx Parenting. Could you tell us a little bit about Latinx Parenting?
Absolutely. Latinx Parenting is my organization, but it is also a movement. And so I always say that it's a movement for children's rights. It's a movement for what I call the liberation of Latinx families. It's a movement for parents who identify as Latinx or Chicanx to really have permission to evaluate themselves, to really look at our history, to really look at our childhoods, and to give ourselves permission to heal. And it actually goes beyond just Latinx people. A lot of people from other cultures have reached out and said that a lot of the content that we share really resonates with them. So we offer parenting classes, but we offer groups as well related to reparenting. And so you and I will talk a little bit more about that soon.
Love it. Yeah. So, Leslie, I know that at our conference, you're going to really be looking at parenting from a different perspective. So we're going to be looking at intergenerational trauma. We're going to be looking at really reconnecting with culture, and then again those reparenting practices.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, reparenting, it's something that I think we're, as a society, we're starting to become more and more aware of. Could you explain what reparenting is, and then maybe just give us some ideas on how we even begin to reparent?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I define reparenting is to really develop a connection with what I call the inner, what would be my inner mother, or my inner parent, and my inner child. So I hold this belief that we all hold, we hold memories, we hold aspects of ourselves, we hold parts of our identity that are rooted back to our childhoods. And so the culmination of all of those is what I call the inner child, right? And so there's different places that my inner child has different ages that my inner child has occupied. And so whenever I am feeling an activation, a familiar activation, you can count that it's my inner child being activated and not so much my present, calm, ideal inner parent. And so it's developing that connection between the inner parent and the inner child, giving that trusting relationship that maybe we did not receive from our parents. A lot of us have very complicated, complex relationships to our parents. And so it's giving us an opportunity to move forward in our healing by developing that relationship without necessarily counting on receiving that care from our parents or from other people. There's another aspect to it that I love to incorporate, and that is it's a very spiritual aspect, actually, because and thinking of ourselves as beyond the inner parent, we're thinking of ourselves as our future, what I call our future abuelita self, our future elder, or our future ancestor self. And so it's bringing in that wisdom that we really want to embody and holding our inner child at the same time, and knowing that we are moving forward towards our healing, towards a more evolved version of ourselves.
Beautiful.
And you were asking about the tool that we use. And so the tool that I love to use, there's a few of them. And actually I have, a full 8-week course on this. So there's a few that I can name, but one of them that is really powerful and very uncomfortable actually for a lot of people is to have a doll. And so this is my actual doll. This is another doll that belongs to a friend of mine, but this is my actual doll. And so when I am doing my personal reparenting work, and I am reprogramming my inner child, my inner voice to be able to receive validation. So I might say something like, you are held, you are safe, you're not in trouble. A lot of us act out of this fear of getting in trouble. And so we don't, act authentically ourselves. And so what I might do as I'm saying those things to myself is I might actually take this little doll. Her name is Sarah. But I kind of see her as like my inner Nina, my inner self, and I might hold her. And so just this act of physically holding this representation of the inner child is something that has been so powerful for me, that I was taught by a woman named Sylvia Poero, who is trained in something called inner bonding. And so I've kind of, developed out of that practice, and this practice of really holding her and not really depending on others to care for her, right? I am the inner parent. I am the one that is able to hold her. I'm not going to hand her over to other people to care for her because I am now here, right? And so that is, to me, something that is very concrete that people can start to do. It doesn't have to be with a doll from childhood. It could be with a teddy bear. It could be with a picture of yourself as a child, but really having something concrete, something physical to be able to hold as you are literally, holding yourself and moving through what could be, really challenging times, especially, in the last year that we've had, so that we can reestablish that safety with ourselves.
Beautiful. So a question, just a concrete example. If, for example, we respond sharply to our children in a way that's not aligned with our value set,
Yeah.
an example of this is that we would come back afterwards and do reflection work and hold in a child of ours and say, it's okay, this is what has happened, and then go back and as the parent, the inner parent, go back and do reparation work with our children. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You have to do that reparation work with yourself first. And I think that that's the step that a lot of us don't take. We feel like we can go back to our children, we can do that apology, but really it takes a lot of inner healing and inner work to be able to get to the point where we are able to take that responsibility without taking on the shame. And I think that that's really key. And that's the big difference, I think, between, just doing that repair the rupture work, and the reparenting work is so necessary to shed the shame around whatever behaviors, you just exhibited. So if you did yell at your child, if you did get to the point where you spanked your child, if you did do something that was out of alignment with your intentions, you wouldn't approach your inner child and say, you did this to your children and how bad you are, because that's just re-injuring that inner child. And it's not allowing us to get to that place of empowerment where we can say, yes, I did that. We can take ownership and say, I exhibited behaviors that were out of alignment. I am so sorry that you were activated. I'm so sorry that you felt unsafe in that situation. We're going to do what we can to help you feel safe, whether that's take a walk outside, reground, usually it takes some kind of like elemental support, drink some water, that kind of thing. And then we go back to our children and we say, I acted in this way and there's no shame around it, right? I apologize. I would like to reconnect with you. But it's because we've taken that step to reconnect with our inner child that makes that possible and that much more powerful.
Oh, Lizzie, I love that. It's so beautiful. It feels as you talk today, it feels so much more anchored that when we go back to ourselves first, it feels like it comes from a truer place than let me just go and apologize. It's deeper and it's more.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, it may be weird. Like they may just be like, wait, you're actually asking me to like hold a doll. Like, what am I, 4 years old? Yeah. A lot of times we are 4 years old. A lot of times we are 10 years old, 11 years old. Whenever I feel activated in a certain way, I know it's like my inner 12-year-old, my inner 13-year-old. And so there's a lot of work that we can do. And I'll talk about this more at the conference around identifying what age we were. And then a lot of times it's not even about cognitively, remembering exactly what happened in that time. It's about reconnecting with the somatic experience of that inner child, right? And so tension in the gut, contraction in the chest, tightness in the jaw, those kinds of things are cues that we can take to learn that our inner child is being activated. And so there's things that we can do on a somatic level that kind of, release that tension and allow us to reconnect back to our inner child and then move forward from there.
So powerful. Well, we only have a little bit of time together today. We have more time at the conference. We're so excited to have you as part of the conference. I can hardly wait.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank you, Leslie.